Let me just get my live together so we.
See me?
Oh yeah, I can see you. Can see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, let's see. Thank you. Hold on. So, are people on it? Because I know the bishop said he had a bunch of people on it. So, Malcolm, I just want people to understand who you are. Anyone that's checking in. Malcolm Bricklin is a very interesting person. He's a genius. I don't know if y'all, because a lot of people are going to be a little younger, but you had your own car company called the Bricklin. You made your own car. And how would you describe it? I don't want to describe it wrong.
The car?
Yeah, and explain the business a little back in those days. Tell them the story real quick.
Back then, what I decided was to build a safe car, since I had 6 kids and 9 grandkids. And so I wanted to build a really beautiful, safe car. So I put in gold wing doors. I used acrylic bodies and claimed that 40 years from the time I built the car, the bodies would look the same. And now that's 45 years and they look gorgeous. It's solid acrylic. And it got mile-an-hour bumpers. So the bumpers went in and out at 10 miles an hour, no damage to the car. Roll cages, just everything you'd ever want. A gorgeous car that today, 45 years later, looks like it's a car from tomorrow.
So let's put things in, so your competition, I would think, just based on what I know, would have been the DeLorean, right?
Well, DeLorean didn't come out until 8 years later. So no, DeLorean was not the competition. That's number one. And John was actually asked me to come join me to be my president before he built his own car. And we almost had a deal. He wanted $1.6 million to leave General Motors. He didn't tell me he was leaving anyhow. And we took him to the bank and got the money. I agreed on the money. And then he called me up after that day at the bank in Pennsylvania, where he got the chairman of the board said he'll give me the money to give to him. He called me and said, I think I need the money after taxes. So I thought for a minute and I said, John, I'd be happy to do it that way, but I think the next problem is going to be who puts the name on the back of the car, and that's not up for negotiation. So we didn't make a deal.
Right.
After the premier put the car into bankruptcy in New Brunswick for political reasons, John called me up and asked me to lunch next time I was in Detroit. Met him. He said, I decided I'm going to build a car. I want to put my name on the back of it. He said, you got any suggestions? I said, yeah. All the people I hired that worked for you back in the Corvette days, you ought to hire back to help build the car. And you better put in special doors, because without that, what do you got? And then you better build a body that doesn't need a paint facility, because as you know, a paint facility costs an extra $300 million. So he decided on stainless steel. And I told him, I think it's a great idea, except you cannot have a car that has the same color throughout the whole life of the car. People want different colors. If you make it the same color, it will get boring. And of course, he found that stainless steel was cool, but it started to get boring and the sales started to drop. And he tried to anodize it, but anodizing is not beautiful, doesn't make it shine. So unfortunately, he failed because he couldn't sell enough cars.
So that's the reason why the DeLorean was so similar to the Bricklin, because you were his influence?
Yep.
Interesting.
Wait a second. I gave him, at his request, my first prototype. One that we never built, but one that was very close to the car I built. And he used that exact prototype to build his car.
So
we have, of course, I still have it. The prototype is in a museum. My prototype.
Okay, so let's cut 2 years later, right?
Okay.
I meet your son at Naked Ping Pong, which is now Spin, a successful business.
By the way, he has 9 of them now.
I'm checking; they're doing very well. And my son was the original DJ. It started out in the loft. It was great.
Yeah, how's Boogie, by the way?
He's good, man. He's he's doing well, I guess. We're going through it. There's a television show about it. What I was saying is, we cut to that, and he brings me, says you should meet my dad. And I come into this building, a structure I've never seen before. You have a car in there, from what I remember, a brand new electric car. This is like 2000. Is it 2006, 7? What is it? 2008. This is before Tesla, Fisker, all of that. And I really got interested in what you were doing. Can you explain what you were doing then, the new car you were building, and then I just want
Well,
you
I
to
was
explain
looking
how
at-
someone says they could just build a car, you know?
Yeah. Well, I realized electric was coming. And I realized that all the major manufacturers were going to get into it. And electric is an easier startup. In the days when I first built my car, you needed an engine, and you had to get an engine from a major engine manufacturer because it cost too much to develop your own engine. So they had you in control. And it really was a difficult game. You had 50,000-mile tests. You had all sorts of different things for admissions. Electric, you have no admission problem. So I realized people were going to be getting into that business, and I was trying to figure out what kind of vehicle could I build that we were thinking about, and we realized other people were going to do that. And as things developed, I finally realized the mantra that everybody uses when they talk about electric vehicles is save weight. How do you save weight? You build bodies out of either carbon fiber or you build it out of aluminum. Everything is to get a pound off here and a pound off there, because the less it weighs, the less batteries you have to use, and the batteries are the most expensive part of an electric car. So I said, wait a second, why don't I build a 3-wheel car? I'll save 1,500 pounds right off the bat. And that means I can put it in half the batteries, and therefore I can charge under $30,000. We developed, and I said, why not build a gorgeous car?
Wait,
It
Malcolm,
doesn't cost one penny more to have a gorgeous car.
So we just
great interior, and do it all so that the new car that we have is gorgeous, number one, and it performs unbelievable. It drives unbelievable, but because I use less kilowatts in the battery, I can sell it for $25,980, and that's what was developed from the time we spent together in New York.
Wow. So when we were in New York, it was a 4-wheel car.
Yep.
And I do remember that the battery was an issue. You were going all around the world looking for batteries. And in that process, you showed me things that I didn't know existed, like cars that could run on water, like so many different things. Can you talk about the things that don't get approved that you saw in your?
Well, the car that went in the water was cooler than could be. I saw that in England and drove around the car at 100 miles an hour on the road, and then zoom, boom, and in 5 seconds I was in the water, and it was just amazing, just amazing. The person who built it spent $100 million developing that, and a whole bunch of off-road vehicles that could also go into the water. But he had too much fun just keep on building prototypes, and he never could get into retailing the damn things. So these great ideas just ended up he spent a lot of money, and God bless him, he has some great vehicles that haven't really seen the light of day.
And also it was like you were showing cars that were actually running on water. Like you had it was just so many things that just don't get approved. And what does it really take to make a car company, and why would someone even try it? And it's like a particular kind of person that can try to start a car company. What does it take to start a car company?
Well, first you got to be crazy. So if you're partly crazy, like you are, David, you could build a car company. It's really all it takes. Decide to do it, go raise the money, and go do it. Now, that's the first problem. After that, then you have to decide how to sell it. And in today's world, because of Musk, by the way, who's doing a magnificent job, by the way. In fact, about 10 years ago, Eberhard, which was his original partner, the guy who actually founded Tesla, was this guy by the name of Eberhard. Anyhow, he called me up and he wanted to meet with me and Musk when I got to California. So when I was in California and Jonathan filmed the meeting, they were talking about all sorts of what my ideas were, or better than that, what I thought of what they were doing. At the time, they had built the convertible, and that was the dumbest thing I ever saw in my entire life. They bought a Lotus vehicle from England, brought it over here, used the shell, and then put their electric in there and made some changes, and it failed. Cool little car, but it failed. It was selling for about $110,000. So they were asking me a whole bunch of things. Most of the things I told them, they didn't listen to. I told him not to have his own dealerships. told him not to put in as much automation as he was bragging about he was going to do. So he bought the factory from the Toyota General Motors failed combination in San Francisco area. A couple million square feet. He bought for like 50 million bucks, probably worth about $3 billion. So now he had this vehicle ready to go for his next one, and he bought an automation company, and he automated the living hell out of that. And then what happened was he couldn't get production, and he couldn't understand why. And they called me up to ask me what they thought they ought to be doing. And I said, listen, guys, in the car business, after the car is built and it goes to the end of the line, somebody checks to make sure all the fits and finishes are right. And when they're not on the outside, you know what they do? They take a fucking hammer and they go bang and they put it back in. Now, you know what would happen if you had it automated like you do all the way to the very end? You couldn't hit it with the hammer anymore. You'd have to stop the line and go back to the beginning and change every single piece of equipment on that line to get it right at the very end. And that means the most unbelievable stoppage of production, and that's why you're having those problems. So rip out some of the automation that you have there, and there's certain things you want to do by hand, which they did, by the way, and his production is up, and God bless him, he's doing a great job.
So you now are building a new car, a 3-wheel car, and you're about to put that into production. You're going to get back in the car business, and it's going to be a new car.
Yep.
Now, what's that process like?
Well, the first thing, I'm fortunate. I know all the people in the industry, but basically I said I want it to be the safest car also. A 3-wheel car is not considered a car. It's considered an autocycle, somewhere between a motorcycle and an autocycle as far as registration. So you don't really need to meet very many of the safety rules that a normal car does. And so anybody playing in the 3-wheel game is usually doing it to avoid the expenses of putting in all the federal regulations. But remember, I got 6 boys and 9 grandkids. I got to have the safest car in the world. I can't get any of them in my car, and they're all going to have one. I can't have them getting hurt. And that's what he's doing right now. So we're going to have not just a nice 3-wheel car that looks great, but we're going to have the safest car on the road.
You got any pictures with you?
What, excuse me?
You have any pictures with you?
I do. Didn't I send you some?
Yeah, but I can't. They're on my screen, but I'm gonna edit it.
Yeah. I got them on the screen too. I don't know if I have. Let's see. Let me see if I have anything around.
Because I love the part about designing the car and the interior in the car and all the stuff that comes with it. And I love that process, you know? What you doing?
Yeah, well, I want to tell you something. It's being built right south of Atlanta. You know, you might as well get involved, and we'll go down there and you can see what's happening as it gets developed.
So
it's fun. I want to tell you something. Of all the things I've done in my lifetime, building a car is the most fun you'll ever have. I got this. I have a picture of an interior. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, that's dope. Nice.
But I'm trying. I don't think I have anything right around.
You don't have a picture of the exterior? Because it looks dope. I should pull it up.
Yeah, I don't have a picture that's not in my. It's in my roll, not in my hand. But I do have a picture of I don't know if you can see this. It's a magazine called The Brick Line. It goes out, I think, every 2 months to the Brooklyn owners, the old Brooklyn owners.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture of the car.
That's the old car. Yeah, that's
I need one of those. 5-year-old car.
I need one of those. I got to get one of those. And they're starting to put them in like Calvin Klein ads and all of that. I saw it.
It's becoming amazingly popular.
So all those ads, there you go. So I think like Justin Bieber is in a Calvin Klein ad with it, right?
Yep.
That new Calvin Klein, that's a Brooklyn. So you have a
Yep. That is. It's a great shot too. Great one.
Do you have any pictures of the outside of the new one?
Wait a second. I can. Hold on. Yep. What I'll do is I'll put it on my iPad. Okay, now let's see how I do this. Pictures.
So these are the conversations I be having. People that want to build cars, entrepreneurs that want to push the bar. You know what I'm saying? And I've been kicking with him for years because I don't know anybody that built a car or a car company. And that's a game I want to play too. So after I do the network game, I'm going to make a car just because I'm an entrepreneur. Oh, wait, hold on. Where'd you go? What just happened? I'm going to make a car because I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And even if I don't make a car, I'm going to know how to make a car. I'll be able to have a savvy conversation with someone that builds cars. You know, it's not bad to talk different languages. And again, every conversation that I have, it's got to be with someone that can be like-minded, that like pushes boundaries, that nobody does. I want to know what that person's thinking. You know, I want to know what they eat.
What the heck is going on here? Oh, here we go. I got it.
You know what I'm saying?
By the way, this is the first time I use Zoom. Here we go. See that picture?
Ooh, that looks hard. Look, that looks hard.
You see it, Damon?
Yeah, I seen it too.
Yes, no.
No, I'm in. I like that. So how much is that?
Damon?
Yeah, I can see. You can't hear me, I don't think.
I don't hear you.
I'm here though. I can hear you. You can hear me?
Damon, do you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Great.
Can you hear me? Why can't he hear me?
I don't know.
I can hear you. I can't hear you now. Now I can't hear you.
It's something with his settings.
It's something with your setting, but we'll fix it. So anyway, while he's fixing his setting, like I said, so, you know, like if I like a car, I want to know the maker of the car. Oh, look, there's the Bishop. Right, nice.
Hey there, Mr. Edge.
Hey, how you doing, Bishop?
Great. Listen to the conversation. Very, very interesting. Very powerful entrepreneur. Whoa, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, and like he actually when he met me, he was like
There we go.
He saw my kind of crazy and said, "I want you to be the CEO of my company." And he started trying, you know, had me observing things and the whole process. We spent a lot of time together. And just, again, I like to know founders, you know, not people that take other companies and then buy them. And I want to know what it took to really make it, what that person's thinking, what it took, what the obstacles are. And he always has solutions. He's always way ahead of the game. And he's been doing it for years. It's like, you know, I don't know how he keeps he's energized, but so I'm excited. I want to be a part of this company. I got to be a part of this company, Malcolm.
Hey, Damon, guess what? I was 81 this year.
You're 81? This nigga moving around.
Yep.
What was that?
I'm going to 125.
What was that machine you had that you used to sit under that used to heal you? What is that machine?
I still have them. The diapose machine. I still have that. In every house I have, all my kids have it, all my ex-wives have one.
And what's
They're
it?
amazing.
What's it called?
Maybe that's why I was so healthy.
What is that? What does it do?
Well, the diapose.
A diapose?
It's electromagnetic, and it is at the same frequency as your cells talk to your body. So in your body, it's all electric, and your cells talk to each other. This machine tells your cells to come over here and heal yourself. So wherever you put it, and you got a problem, your body takes care of it.
So it's like electric acupuncture.
Electromagnetic.
But you know, like how acupuncture, it makes where you
yeah, of course I do. I've had acupuncture.
Yeah, so it's like the same.
You know what? It's sort of like that. Yeah.
Right.
Except it doesn't go into your body. Yeah.
So I want to talk more about the car business, right? So
Go ahead.
now I want to put things in perspective because the money in cars is crazy. How much, if you sell 100,000 cars, how much money would one make?
Well, on 100,000 cars, we'd make about $500 million a year. I'm planning on selling 300,000 a year. I'm planning on making about $1.5 billion a year.
So 300,000.
We're going to sign up dealers and we're going to sign up distributors. Each of them invests in the company, and each of them invests at a higher price. And then after I've got them all set up and people are running in, putting in their deposits for the cars, we're going to go public and raise another couple billion.
So
awesome.
So you have to build the car, then you have to get all the dealerships for the car. Now, one of the things that I remember was when you make something that doesn't exist, people have to know how to fix the car. When something breaks, the parts have to be sold. You know, at the time, there was no way to get electricity in a gas station. Now, one of the things that I remember was you make something that. How do you like these new
Who
parts?
is that beautiful girl?
I don't know. Some people are popping in on the.
No kidding.
Yeah, you got about 16 people in here now. The bishop invited some really good people, and he usually does, that are interested in this kind of information because they're all entrepreneurs. And also, if they want to be a part or an ambassador or be a part of this business, they'll get down, you know.
Amen. You know, you and I spent a whole bunch of time in New York. A lot of intimate time because you were right across the hall. And God bless you. You know, I've always loved you. And my kids always loved you. There's whatever that attraction is all about. With the car, you got to get involved. This is really something that when you see what it's all about, you'll be able to do it yourself anytime you want.
So basically, if people on the line were interested in being a part of this, they might want to be a dealer, or they might want to.
No. To be a dealer, you got to be already a successful dealer out there. That's number one. We're setting up 10 distributors like I did with Subaru. They, in turn, will go out and sign up 500 dealers, 50 dealers each. The distributors are going to be paying $10 million to get in, get $12 a share, and the dealers are going to be paying $500,000 at $15 a share.
Wait! I forgot about Subaru.
The franchise, they're getting stock in the company.
You used to run Subaru, right?
I brought Subaru into the country 1967.
So you were the first person to distribute Subaru in America?
I was the importer for Subaru in America, right. Set up the distributors, set up the dealers, brought it public. Yep.
Can you do me a favor?
Where you go?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man.
How's it going, Mr. Dad? How's everything, bro?
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I just thought it was important for everybody to meet Malcolm because people don't know about him and don't have access to people that make cars. And I'm sure there's a lot of questions people might have, but I just think, you know, that's one of those things where we think that's untouchable.
How are you?
How you doing?
Awesome.
We can't make cars, but it's something that we can do if we know the plug or someone that can show us how. And he has a good car. Hey, the new car he's making. Can you show the pictures of the car one more time for everyone that just came in?
Sure.
The new
Hold
car.
Hold on.
Thank you.
He's like, ooh, who's that little girl?
Okay. See it? Oh, shit.
Oh, wait.
You see the car?
Here.
Yeah, that looks nice. I can How do I,
So that's the new car that he's designing. Now, can you show?
Now, wait a second. There's another thing that I haven't told you. We're going to, I plan on selling, something's happening. You're going in and out. You see me?
I see you.
Okay. Every 25,000 vehicles, which will be once a month, we're changing the exterior of the body of the car. The doors will be the same, the scissor doors, because that's who we are. But the exterior will be different. And the reason for that, and it'll be gorgeous. The reason for that is now you'll have a car that used car value will stay high. Because if you want one, we don't got them anymore. They're already sold out. You have to buy it from somebody who already has the car. So people will, number one, not want to sell their car, but two, they'll have people who want to buy that design, but they ain't there anymore because it's all sold out. So the price will be eventually higher than you paid for retail.
Can you show them the first Bricklin real quick for the people that just came in so they know the car you made before?
Well, hold on a second. Let me get it. The Bricklin. Here's the Bricklin, 45-year-old car.
So that's the first car he made.
That's the first car built in 1974.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
How you do your explanation? Your
So that's dope. I just like seeing. I gotta get one of those. I gotta get one. So is
Here's all the different colors.
Nice. That's fly. I gotta get a couple of those. I think I like that. We gotta put that in a movie or something like that. So now, so where are you gonna make where are you gonna make these new cars at? The new ones, the 3-wheel cars.
I am planning on putting in a city in South Carolina. The city is going to be called Utopia, and in that city is going to be our car. I'm going to bring my suppliers into that area, and I'm going to open it up to other people who want to build electric vehicles that are not the same as the 3-wheeler. If they want to build a pickup, if they want to build an SUV, they can come to the park, we'll finance them, and they can use our suppliers. And in that city, I'm going to be, you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
Because you disappeared. In that city, I'm going to be hiring mainly veterans to build the car, and I'm going to build beautiful, beautiful housing for them, so that they have the best. And to make sure everybody understands how important the veterans are to me, I have people like Tom Ridge, who was the first Secretary of Homeland Security, an ex-governor of Pennsylvania, an ex-congressman from Pennsylvania, and he is president of the Disabled Veterans of America. And I got a guy by the name of Ken Fisher, who is New York royalty. They own about 20 million square feet of Park Avenue. And he gave the Intrepid, the Intrepid that's sitting in the Hudson River, and all the income that comes from that goes to veterans. And I got Paul Buca, who is Medal of Honor winner, who was a professor at West Point, who was military advisor for Bush and Obama. All these guys are on my board. All these guys are investor in the company.
How much?
So we got a who's who. I got Undersecretary of Defense for Technology. Malcolm Curry used to be chairman of Fuse Aircraft. All these guys are there to help me do whatever the heck I want. I got Ron Harbour, who is the foremost authority on automobile factories in the world, on our board, and an investor.
And how much is the car going to cost?
The car is going to retail for $25,980.
And it's electric.
It's all electric. 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. 300 miles between charges. Leather and wood interior. You saw the interior. And it handles this car when you drive a 3-wheeler that has a front end that's really wide. It's as wide, by the way, as a Lamborghini. And so it has a short wheelbase and wide front end. And I got to tell you, will be the most fun you ever had driving a car.
And you're saying it's completely safe?
No, I'm telling you, it's going to be safer than any car on the road. Any what do you call it? Any production car. I'm telling you, you put it in harness. Let me tell you how funny the law is. When I was building the Brooklyn back in 1967, I wanted it to, of course, be the safest car in the world also. At the time, I owned the Phoenix International Racecourse, which was changed to the Brooklyn International Raceway. In any case, I knew that harness belts were a lot safer than seat belts, because seat belts only had that thing across your neck that goes across. But by law, you could not have a harness belt in a production car, because the law said, and it described what a seat belt should look like. But because I'm building a 3-wheeler and I am not subject to those same rules, I can, in fact, put in the harness, which is 10 times safer than the regular seatbelt. And they have it now where I can have airbags in my harness belt, so you don't end up slamming your head in front of at 100 miles an hour into the steering wheel. But I'll still have the normal airbags, but I also have airbags in the harness belt. And all those things are for one purpose only. So when my kids are driving in that car and they get in an accident, they're going to be as safe as I could possibly make it.
When do you think we'll be able to see the first of these cars, or when do you think they'll be available?
The first cars should be off by the end of the summer. Then I'm about to build a whole bunch of prototypes and run them all over the place to find out, what the flaws may be, and change it. Those are the times where it'll be fun for you to be involved. So you take a car you do like, so we change it before it goes into manufacturing.
And you're going to make the first car in America?
Everything's going to be built in America.
This summer.
Line, because I got to set up my distributors in, I got to set up my dealers in, I got to make sure that everything is ready. This is going to be more of an assembly facility rather than a manufacturing facility. For instance, I'm going to use hemp for the body. Hemp is 2 times stronger than steel, and it's really inexpensive, and I can grow it right here in the United States. And there I got my hemp car. It's going to be great, but I'm going to impregnate the car with color, so I don't need a paint factory. Now a paint factory to do 300,000 cars would cost me $800 million. So I don't have to spend that $800 million because I'm impregnating the car.
Impregnate.
So it's all those things that I happen to know over all my years of doing it that makes me be able to build a car for probably $500 million, and we probably have a car. And if you see these nuts that are building cars now, Musk, well, God respect him, he spent over $20 billion with what he's been doing. So that's one way of doing it. We know how to do it a lot less expensive and sell plenty of cars and make plenty of money just because I have all the right people working with me.
Now, can you explain how this is going to get funded? This is an extensive plan. How much does it cost, and how do you get this money to make this happen?
Well, we spent $10 million already doing all the things, checking out what kind of cars, going out and doing. We've talked to a couple thousand people already, showing the pictures of the car to see what we ask them. Here's what this car is. How much you think it ought to sell for? And the average price was $116,000. And they ranged anywhere from $75,000 on the low end to $1 million on the high end. So the first thing we did is get the money that we raised, and I put in money, so that we could get to where we are now. Now we're going out and raising the next $2.5 million to finish the prototypes. And then we sign up distributors. Each one of them will invest $10 million at $12 a share. So that'll be $100 million we'll get, and we'll have them knocking down the doors, because the Subaru distributors made hundreds of millions of dollars, and Subaru bought all of them out but 2 who wouldn't sell: New York, New Jersey, and New England. New England is making $250 million a year and turned down $1.5 billion. So the distributorships are valuable, but there are no such things as car distributors anymore. Everybody bought them back. Well, Volkswagen bought them back. Cadillac had distributors, bought them back. And so Subaru bought them all back. Toyota bought them all back, but 2 that wouldn't sell. The one in Florida turned down $4 billion for his distributorship. So signing up distributorships will be relatively easy. They, in turn, are big dealers, and they, in turn, will set up 50 dealers each in their area, each of them. So we'll raise $100 million from our distributors, and we'll raise $250 million from our dealers. And we're raising $2.5 million now at 50 cents a share. Then we're raising $50 million at $1.50 a share. And then we're signing up distributors at $12 a share and dealers at $15 a share. And if everything goes well, we should go public at around 50.
So is that the exit strategy, to go public, or is it to sell? Like, what's the exit?
No, it's the strategy to bring in money so that the company has plenty of money for any kind of eventuality. Like they shut down everybody and we can't sell any cars because a new virus comes and gets us. No, it's going, but it'll be my exit strategy. Whenever I need some money, I'll sell some stock.
Got it. Bishop.
And what I need money for is only to spoil the kids and the grandkids.
So I'm sure you have some questions, Bishop. I just wanted y'all to know that this is the kind of people we have access to talking to, understanding business from the ground up. And if there's any questions out there, he's right here. If you want to know how to make a car, if you want to know the business, any part of it, this is the man to talk to.
Damon, I want everybody who's listening to this, is like my 7th son.
Totally awesome.
Since all my kids come from, they're all brothers from another mother. I've been married 4 times.
Totally awesome. Okay, Minister E, hit your question. Elijah.
Hello?
Yeah, Elijah said he had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't see Elijah.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, dear. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. I have a question. So,
Wait a second. You got to tell me your name.
my name is Allison Purnell.
Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You said that every 25,000 vehicles, you're going to change the exterior of the car.
Yep.
Now, so how long do you think do you estimate it'll take you to transition from the previous exterior to the new exterior? Like, what kind of pause do you see in production?
You're saying when I change the body style?
Yes.
They will fit exactly in the same place. Let's take a fender. I'm going to be able to pop the fender off, and I can put the new fender, which will look different, but will be exactly the same size. So it'll fit in the same holes. Everything will fit in the same way. And in order to get all these designs, because now I'm going to need 12 different designs a year, I'm going to put on a contest where you're going to be able to go to our website and find the dimensions, and then you scribble any kind of design you want and send it in. If I pick it, you get $10 a car, which is $250,000 check, and you get a finished car that you designed, signed by all of us for yours. So you get a car that's yours, and you get $250,000. Now, it does not. We're not asking for anybody to really design a car. Just throw in whatever they think the design should be. My designers will make it fit.
So wait, you're saying that if someone has a body, you'll be able to get new parts, unpop them, and put them back on and have a new body?
Yeah, I don't like that part, by the way, because I don't want them to really do that. So I'm really not. But yes, they could do that.
Wow.
But basically, yeah. I mean, they could change the body all day long. They can have in their car 12 different bodies, and they can just pop them out and put them in.
I need to see that. I got to see that one. That's.
In manufacturing, will you guys be using any form of 3D printing?
Oh man, yeah. Oh boy, did you hit that. I couldn't do what I just told you if we didn't have 3D printing available.
That's what came to mind, yeah.
I mean, to give you an idea of what a body used to be, first you design the body, you say, okay. Then they make a clay, full model clay, that's accurate to 1/10,000th of an inch. Right? That's about 1,000 man hours. All right? Then they pull a plaster. When they pull the plaster, they just ruin the clay. Then they take it down with the plaster to a machine that goes in, runs inside the thing to start to make the tool. Everything I just told you from beginning to end is an 8-month process. New game, 3D printing. You design the car, you put it in the printer, and 2 days later you got your car.
Awesome. That's what I was thinking when I was hearing about the innovation. I was like, especially
Yeah. Without 3D printing, well, you're on top of it. Without that, it's now matured enough. So Ford is actually putting 3D printers on the line. Now, that's a miracle. Now, by the way, 3D printing can actually make, if I want, a body out of metal. They can make actually parts for motors. It's unbelievable how terrific that really is.
So I have a question. So you're saying that you figured out how to do production cheaper, and you're at the forefront of that?
No, not me. Ron Harper told me what to do.
And are other car companies, like you said, Ford or whoever's doing that, are they going to start to do that? And
No, they can't do that. And they're already stuck with the way they got the paint facilities. They already spent the money.
Right.
So
And that's another thing. That's another thing.
Better.
That's another thing you taught me, was that the reason why it took so long for the electric car industry to kick in, they always knew about electric cars, but they were so heavily invested in the old way of doing things in the old factories that they had to get their money back from that to invest it into new stuff.
Absolutely. And that's still true. Listen to how funny this world is. We have every single major car manufacturer in the world spending billions of dollars to develop electric vehicles. They're all going to build the same thing: SUVs, sedans, and pickup trucks. Now, everybody working at those companies are knowledgeable about combustion engines. Everybody that they hire now to build the car that nobody who's in the existing company really knows about. Now tell me how difficult that is to get involved. You in a company get involved with another technology that's going to put you out of business as a person, not out of the company. So it's a strange thing, and that's why it's still taking so long for them to get those electric cars out here, and they're all going to be relatively vanilla, is what they're going to do. Because the truth of the matter is, even though everybody knows that's what's happening, down deep in their soul, they wish they could just stay with combustion engines because they know it so well, and they got so much invested.
Now,
I think you were around when you heard the Henry Ford story. It was 1974. No, it was about 1975. And I had gotten involved with a guy who was one of the smartest inventors I ever met out of Graham, Texas. And he had invented an engine, a combustion engine. And it had no moving parts hardly. I could take that, you could take that engine apart in 5 minutes and put it back together. That's how simple it was. And it was everything amazing. Just everything you could possibly know amazing. And he had built prototypes, 20 horsepower, 100 horsepower, 500 horsepower, everything you ever want. And I was invited to speak at the first World Automotive Congress that was in Detroit at the Hyatt, which was right across the street from Ford. And the three major speakers for that first World Automotive Congress was Henry Ford, me, and then John DeLorean. So I said to Henry, and when I was about to speak, I had given an interview to Mechanics Illustrated, and we were on the front cover of Mechanics Illustrated. And it said, unbelievable, but we saw it all work. That's what the story was about, front cover, which I have a copy of, by the way. Wow, a long time ago. Anyhow, so then after my speech was over, I and my wife at the time, which was my second wife, went over to see Henry Ford. And I brought a 20 horsepower motor with me, which was about 8 inches big. And it had 100 pounds of torque at 100 RPMs and went to 16,000 RPMs. So I brought this little engine to him and I said, Henry, here's the deal. And I hand him the engine. I said, everything I'm talking about, here's Mechanics Illustrated, here's everything they want to see. I'm going to give you this motor and this engine. And with this engine, you could be number one in the car business. So he said to me, I could never be number one. At the end of 5 years, we split 50-50. Oh, he said, how can I miss? I love that deal. He said, okay, I'm going to send my head engineer down to Graham, Texas. He'll be there, next 2 days. So I fly down to Texas. His head engineer is there. My guys are there. All the motors are there on dynos. So anything they want to see, they can see. And of course, I'm telling you, it was blow-away time. And he says, Mr. Berkman, can I speak to you for a minute? I said, sure. And he pulls me over to the side and he said, listen, my job here is to invalidate the motor. And I looked at him because it didn't sink in. Invalidate what? And then it sank in. What was wrong with me? How dare me be stupid enough to think that somebody is going to throw away everything they got invested in so they can change to this incredible motor that you have to change the bodies, you have to do everything. And so it's never going to happen. I wouldn't let it happen. I'm wasting my time. I shut the door. I'm out of the motor business. And I said, if I ever get involved with somebody else's engine or motor or anything else, I'm only getting involved if I'm putting it in my car. Because nobody out there, from then on, my mission to never get so involved that I got in the same place where I wouldn't change. And that's why I'm not investing in battery technology. I'm buying it from other people because I want to go out and find a technology that you never have to charge your car. You drive it forever. And I've already gotten some stuff that maybe will work on down that direction.
So Malcolm,
I'm going to build the car regular with batteries right now, but my goal is going to be put things in like thorium. If you look up thorium, I could put in 8 grams. I could put in 8 grams of thorium in my car and drive it for 100 years.
So, hey Malcolm, what I got from that is if you come with something that's going to change industry, the industry is going to turn their back on you because they don't want to change because they're so invested in an old industry. So you can't expect when you have a new idea for people, and it's logical for people to help you because they're not going to help you put them out of business. You got to do it yourself. So, and that's been my whole world, right? Because every time I come with something that's futuristic, it means everything I'm invested in has to change, which now people are pushed to change and people aren't prepared because they didn't want to deal with the change in the first place, even though they knew that it existed. So one more question, and then I'm going to let everyone else ask their question. Now, the reason why I thought it was important for the bishop to bring people and his whole crew here is because they're severely intelligent and they want to do things. And a lot that's presented to us is Let's make a record. Let's make television. Let's do entertainment. No one thinks, let's get in the car business. But I want you to stimulate people to think and know that there is a future there. And if they want to get into the business anyway, how could they get into the future of this business and be ahead of the game? How could they start getting, because this talk is exciting for people that like cars, torque and billions and factories. But how could, it looks like a game you can't get into. How could one of them get into this game if they were interested in it? And not tomorrow, but to invest in the future.
Yep. Well, first of all, here's what I'm thinking. While you're talking, I'm listening. I mean, all due respect, I am 81 years old. And even though I got all the energy in the goddamn world, I'm probably only good for another 40 years. So based on that, I want to encourage everybody I can to learn everything I know so they can go out and do it. And you, Damon, would be fun to learn what it is I know because you absorb really well. And you can then encourage people, because if they see that you're involved and they see the people around you are involved, it gives them hope that there is no obstacles, that the only obstacle you ever have is yourself.
But what specifically could they do to get in the business, in what area?
Well, they have to be inspired to figure out the area. That's what the entrepreneur's job is, to figure out what can they do that's better than what everybody else is doing. But we can inspire them to go down that road, and we can make available the things we know to make it easier for them. But they got to come up with a better idea.
Nice.
And you, by the way, being involved in any way, shape, or form will encourage a whole group of people that didn't have the balls to think they could do it, and to get the balls to go do it.
Well, that's why I want to be a part of a car company, because that's unimaginable in my culture for someone to come in and own a car company. And I've always wanted to. And when you gave me the opportunity, that's why I was like, I want to see everything. You know, I want to know how to do a car company.
As soon as they let us out of the goddamn house, I'm getting on an airplane to fly to LA to see some of my kids and some of my grandkids. And we get together and person to person and figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Anybody got any questions? I mean, I have my questions. And Bishop, I don't want to hog it up.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Brooklyn, how are you? I wanted to know, how involved were you in the design process, the actual conceptualizing your car?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Now, understand, I would tell them, here's what I want, and they would come up with their ideas, and then I would pick the one that I liked. So it was my pushing them in a direction, but them coming back to me to show me things that I had not imagined. Listen, to do something like a car, to do anything, you need good people. Look at the people you have around each other now. You need all that. Everybody's got different ideas. Everybody's got different experiences. Everybody's got different wisdom. And if you put a good team together, you can do anything. But to try to do everything alone is, first of all, not fun. And second of all, you're not going to come up with something good. Or maybe you will. You won't come up with something great if you try to do it alone.
Awesome. I have another question. I read in your bio that you turned high-end car dealers into art galleries. How did that come about?
No, I didn't do that. I was going to do that. I went all the way down the road of putting it together and figuring it all out, and then saying, you know what, I can't do both, only because it doesn't look good. I can do both, but I did an automotive news article on front page, and it wrote it, and I read the thing, and I went, oh, shit. Art and cars, I'm making a mistake, so I cut the art part off. Now, here's the reason why. 9/11. At 9/11, I was living in Madison, right near Madison Square Park. And I happened to be in England looking at that car he was talking about that went in the water. And I was coming back from Birmingham, England on an airplane, and I was halfway across the ocean, and they said, the first trade tower has just fallen down. Remember, that's the only thing I heard. And the second thing was, airspace to the United States has been closed. And the third thing I heard was, the alcohol will no longer be served on the airplane until we land. And they ended up landing in Canada. Now, my wife at the time is my present wife, by the way, who's a real keeper, thank God. Anyhow, she saw what happened, and her son happened to have been in the hospital in New York because he broke his collarbone the night before skateboarding. So she petrified, and she went down. She couldn't find a taxi cab. The ATM machines were closed. She ran to the hospital to make sure her son was okay. And when I got back from Canada, when they opened up the country and I got back from Canada, she said, I'm selling everything. She's my real estate lady. She owns all the real estate. And she said, we're selling everything and I'm moving out of the city. And this is a really strong girl. And I didn't realize how much it had affected her. Anyhow, so now we are living up in Monroe, New York. And I'm coming back from a trip to some country, and I'm walking in, and she is sitting on the floor with a book open and a palette of paint colors, and she's painting a picture. And I said, oh, Sonia, I didn't know you were an artist. She said, I'm not. I said, well, I didn't know you took courses. She said, I didn't. I said, well, how would you know how to mix paint? How do you know how to put the foundation? She was painting amazing. She says, listen, I have no idea, but I know everything there is to know about art. In my head, something opened up, and it was the trauma from 9/11 that turned my wife into an incredible artist. I don't mean a good artist, incredible artist. I introduced her to a guy who was an artist who was selling his art for $50,000 to $100,000 a painting, and he was selling like 15 paintings a year. He was doing more than one a month. And he said, let me take her to the Met and let me see what the story is. So he takes her to the Met, and they walk every floor. He talked about all the different artists. And at the end, he said to her, okay, so which of these artists can you do? And she said, all of them. And he said, what? She said, yeah, can't you? Because something happened that flipped. And so I decided I'm going to start a whole new world of art, because the art world it really is a world. You know, you pay $200,000. I mean, oh my God. You know, it's unbelievable. You pay $1 million. You pay $500. I mean, it's just out to lunch. So I put together this whole thing, and then I said, you know what? I can't do both. Let me do the car first. Let's get that off the ground successful, and then let me go back and set this art thing up together.
Cool.
Steve, why don't you tell them why you asked the question?
Well, I asked the question because I am an artist. And,
so you know all the goddamn problems of it.
Yeah, it's a dog-eat-dog world for the artist. But, that's what I do. So
well, I was going to sell art. I was going to guarantee it. So you were going to be able to buy it. We're going to put, we had technology so that every painting in our inventory would be on your living room. So you could push a button and that painting could be there. It would look like a real painting, and then you could decide on buying it. And if it gets sold, then you couldn't have it anymore in your living room. Only the person who bought it could get that painting. Anyhow, it didn't matter. So we had figured out it all. That'll be something that if you're an artist, you'll want to get involved in once we come back to it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Brooklyn.
Yeah, my pleasure. My name is Malcolm now.
Oh, okay.
That's it, everybody.
Hi, how you doing, Mr. Brooklyn?
I'm doing fine. Malcolm, to you too, please.
I appreciate it. My name is Minister Elijah Green. I wanted to ask you, what were some of your marketing strategies that you used to your benefit while operating your multiple businesses?
What my strategy is? Well, first, everything I do, when I wake up in the morning, I only sleep 3 hours a night. So I got a lot of time. I go to sleep at 11 and I'm up at 2:30. So I got a lot of time between 2:30 and places open at 5 so I can go get some coffee, or used to like to go to a restaurant, which I can't do anymore. Now I go to the Dunkin' Donuts, buy my coffee, go out in the car, drink my coffee and read my iPad, read all the newspapers. It's amazing. Who in the hell ever thought that they could turn down, they could shut the whole world down? Unbelievable. It's the most unbelievable bullshit I've ever seen in my entire life. Do you realize what they've done to us? Anyhow, I wake up in the morning, I can't wait. Because as far as I'm concerned, if I didn't even have to sleep for 3 hours, I would never go to sleep. And what I'm saying to everybody is all you need to do is be excited about the day, and you can create anything. So it was getting up in the day. You don't have to know what's going on. Just pay attention to what is in front of you.
But what were some of the march?
Just pay attention to it.
But what was some?
You guys are doing the same thing I'm doing. You're just not building a car. But everything you're doing is the same as what I'm doing. It's the same process. You have to think about it. You have to change it. You have to bring in other people's ideas forward. You guys are as entrepreneurial as it comes.
But hey, Malcolm, I'm kind of curious specifically. How did you promote the Bricklin? How did you promote your cars when you rolled them out?
I take a prototype, go build a prototype, and always drive really well. That's where I would get my money.
The product.
Always the product. Always the product.
I think what's so powerful is that what Malcolm is saying is that if you are a free thinker and if you have the mind of an entrepreneur, you make invisible things visible. And once you make those invisible things visible, take it to the people who have the influence to influence the masses. And also, what's very key, they found out, well, I love cars. You know, I love cars, you know. And some people, they don't know what that means. When you truly love a car, you love just looking at it. Because if you love a car, it's
exactly
art.
Right.
It's a piece of art. What they found out is when you allow the customer to customize anything of that car, they feel as if they had a part in building it. And that's when it comes to vets. You can put your name on it. Certain vets, you can watch them put the engines together. Porsche, you can do certain things. Because whenever you can personalize something on a car, it makes that car unique to you. And that's what I see you're doing, Malcolm. You're allowing people to customize many different things where they become part owner of this moving piece of art, you know? And that alone sells the product.
You got it. Listen, I used to with the Bricklin. I'd park it out in front and just look at it for a couple hours with the doors up. Excellent. There's something else.
Question?
Yes, I have a question.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, Malcolm?
Your name?
Hi, this is Apostle Kelvin. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. I'm inspired. I love cars. But my question to you, I was reading about you, and what inspired you to go electric after having so many years, building?
Electric. Well, first of all, I wanted to do electric way back. But in the 1990s, I met a man by the name of Dr. Malcolm Curry. He had just retired from being chairman of the board of Hughes Aircraft. He had also been Undersecretary of Defense for Technology. So this was and his name was Malcolm too, also, by the way. So it was two Malcolms. I fell in love with the guy, and he fell in love with me. And he was the man that was in charge of putting the team together to do the EV1 for General Motors. Remember that car they put out and then they brought them all back and they wrecked them? His team at Hughes built that car. So when they pulled him back and started pulling him off the street, he went nuts. He was pissed. Now, he had retired from Hughes, and he said, let's do something in the electric car business. This is 1990s. So we went around. The batteries were they were just no good. Lead acid batteries, if you put them in a car, you maybe go 25 miles. It just wasn't where it was. But we played, coming up with batteries from computers and putting them together and putting them in cars. And one day I took one of the prototypes we had because we were putting them into regular cars. And I drove it back to where I lived in Malibu and realized I got there with maybe 2 miles left to go. And I said, I can't sell this car because I won't drive this car anymore. I'm scared to death. I'm going to be stopped someplace. What the hell am I going to do? Right. And somebody's going to come in and plug me in? This is before cell phones, God. So I said, we can't do it. So we said, well, what could we do with what the batteries are today? And we said, how about if we start the electric bike industry?
Wow.
And we'll put batteries. So we went to Design Work, which is owned by BMW, right there in California. That's where I was living at the time. They designed the bike called the EV Warrior. Pull up the EV Warrior on the internet. Just pull up EV Warrior. And you'll see that built in like 1996. And I set up car dealers for that too. And they loved it because the press would say, oh, they're an electric vehicle. They got a electric bicycle. The problem, always a problem. The problem was none of the salespeople wanted to sell the bike.
Wow.
What happened there?
You're good.
You see us? Okay.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to sell the bike. Why? Because they were only going to make it was sold for $1,295, and a gorgeous looking bike at the time, and they only got $50 to sell it. So who the hell wanted to sell that as an up and then go be on the back of the line? So if you wanted to buy a bike from one of these dealers, they pointed to it, you took it out, you drove it around the parking lot, you loved it. I mean, when you pushed that button and that thing went, oh my God, you had to have it. There is a problem with that too. The people buying the bike were not bike people. So they're not used to driving a bicycle on the road with cars. Well, when these people, and we had everything on there, we had stoplights, we had the mirrors, with the signals in the mirrors. We had everything known to man electronically at the time in the bike, except that you drive that bike on the street with cars, you're scared to death, you're going to get killed. So these people would buy the bike, they would love the bike when they drove it around in the parking lot, but when they drove it on the street, they were scared to hell. So people loved their bike but didn't use it very much, except to show off in the driveway. So anyhow, I decided it wasn't for me. Dr. Curry decided he was going to develop it even further, and he sold them to Walmart's, a different bike. And I went off to work with Jet Propulsion Laboratory on a methanol fuel cell.
Wow.
Anyhow, go look at the EV Warrior.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Malcolm.
Hi, dear.
My name is Minister Damaris. This is my husband, Minister Leon.
Malcolm?
I don't see you guys.
Can you see us now?
No. I don't know why. Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
I see everybody. I see 4 people, but I don't see you. Huh.
I can see you. I can see you.
Wait a second. Oh, wait, I do. Okay.
Hi. So my question was, at the trick bike, in your biography, it mentions that you went for 3 years, and for those of us who are looking for the next big thing, it seems like reading your biography, a lot of the time you were going on faith and knowing that you would pull the next big thing out of thin air. What would you say to those of us who are looking for the next big thing? What should we be looking for?
Okay, first of all, get an idea of what area you want to play in. And then imagine that you're opening a door, and when you open the door, all that's there is, have the slice idea. You've never been in the other side of that door, but you open it up and you walk in. And when you walk in, all of a sudden you see whatever's there. So you just have faith and just keep walking, and as long as you have a belief that you're going to find that something without knowing what it is, and you have enough faith in yourself to believe it's going to happen, you start opening up doors and walking in. And that I can't explain it any different. It just happens.
Yeah.
I am not the kind of person that should be building cars. I don't know a damn thing. I mean, people used to come to me at parties because they were car people and they really knew what they were car about. I didn't know what they were talking about. I had to pretend I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. It's your imagination and your story.
Better than anybody. The industry, not the workings, but now with electric, it's all easier. Because electric is easy. Electric doesn't have problems. And one of the reasons that dealers and factories don't like it is because they don't sell a lot of parts to electric. Because electric doesn't need a lot of maintenance.
That's new. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And can you talk a little bit more? You mentioned earlier about a battery that's not going to have to be charged.
Yeah, go look this up. Go look up thorium. Thorium, THORIM or something like that, IUM. Thorium is a radioactive material that you cannot use for a bomb or anything like that. Very little radiation. But 8 grams of that would run a car for 100 years. Wow. Now, I am not talking about what I'm talking to you guys about right now to anybody else because you're going to think I'm nuts. And I don't need that right now. When you're raising money, you don't have to come across being nuts. So right now, as far as the world's concerned, I'm doing what I'm doing. But I do not like the idea of having batteries. I do not like to have the idea I have to charge the damn thing. I want to get in a vehicle, and I never want to stop for anything. I want to, and then I want to plug it into the house and run the house. And that's really where my head is coming from. Now, I am telling you, that's what I want to do. Now, do I have it ready for me? Absolutely not. I have no idea what it's actually going to do. I invented a multi-blade turbine so that I could put them in the front of the car. And in fact, one of the cars was designed by Dan to have that in there. So what would happen is 25 miles an hour or over, the grill would open up. So I built it, we tested it, and then I said, if I'm going to go raise money, I better go to be normal.
Brilliant.
Did it work when you tested it, Malcolm?
What?
When you tested it, did it work?
It worked, but I did not do enough testing to say, let's go commit to that. Yeah, it worked. I got the prototypes. One of these days I'll show you the pictures of it.
That's dope. See, that's the type of stuff I'll be talking about.
But there's a case you ask, how does it work? The work is I want to buy that, and now everything that comes into my universe that will do that job, I'm going to explore. And I'm going to test. And if once I got it, I got it. And then I'll give you the goddamn car. Pay me $20 a month for the rest of your life, and you have enough electricity to run your house and your car forever.
I think what's so awesome, talking to somebody like Malcolm and Mr. Dash, you begin to learn how to think outside of given limitations. But I hope everyone was doing as I am doing. My wife has been taking notes, and Malcolm said the only obstacle you have is you. Malcolm also said you have to be able to absorb things very well. Malcolm also said everyone needs good people around them. Malcolm also stressed you put a good team together, you can do anything. I want to say that.
You got that right.
You put a good team together, you can do anything. Malcolm also said you do it alone, you can get good, but not great. Meaning you have to find like-minded people. And right now, we're at the process of finding like-minded people to make our dreams and other people's dreams come true. Be excited about the day, and you can create anything. I mean, come on. And that type of, Malcolm, the type of energy that you have is contagious, you know? So this is stuff that I absorb. You know, I have to absorb it because, you know, I'm in the business of, I like to believe I'm in the business of turning bad news into good news. I hear more.
That's good. Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I got to find something good. Another thing you said, no matter what you're doing or creating, take a prototype. I mean, you create it to a people who have the power to make it a reality. And these are the building blocks that we have to make the norm in our thinking. So many people thinking no, so many people thinking can't, and so many people thinking doubt. You can't be an entrepreneur and think like that, or your dream will never come true. Amen. That's very, very powerful. But this is, to me, this is the key thing, and this is what Mr. Dash represents. He represents connecting people with other people that they would have no connection with without him having the freedom. See, Mr. Dash doesn't fear competition. You know, he's a boss. But when you're a boss, you don't fear other bosses. And to me, to actually, a guy who loves cars, who goes to the New York Car Show, who takes time to wash a car, to really speak to someone who has been there, you're greater than Lee Iacocca, you know? I mean...
let me tell you about Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca was going to retire. He calls me up when we're doing the electric bike. He says, hey, would you show me what you're doing? I said, absolutely. For 6 weeks, every day, I picked him up at his house in Beverly Hills, and we went looking at the bike, and he saw the dealership, and he said, and I said, and oh, by the way, I don't recommend the business. I said, because nobody wants to sell it. And the people who buy it can't use it because they can't drive on the street. They'll get killed.
How did you handle situations like that when it came to recalls and just like personal business matters like that?
All right. First of all, when you get into the car business, here's what you do. You get a dealer. He has to have parts. We have to have parts in our warehouse to make sure that the minute that car goes out to if something happens, we can take care of them. And because we're setting up dealers, everybody else in the electric vehicle business that are getting into the business. So in the old days where they put in a bunch of stock, I had to put $20 million worth of parts in my warehouse. Now all that, people like Amazon and FedEx will do it for me. And they will ship it out to my dealers, and my dealers will not have to invest in the parts. I won't have to invest in the parts, except for parts that move fast. I was going to say spark plugs, but electric motors don't have spark plugs either. So the world has changed. With 3D printing and with people like Amazon and FedEx around, the getting into the game costs a lot less.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I have a quick question for you. I'm Prophetess Jackie, go by Pro J. What have you learned from your failures in business?
Say that again. What did I learn?
From your failures in business.
I don't know why I'm not hearing you. I'm only hearing, what did you learn from and I'm not getting the next word.
She said, what can you learn from your failures in business?
Oh, failures. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I never want to hear that word. That's probably what the problem was. I never considered that I ever had a failure.
That's exactly what I said.
But I had a bump in the road. Some of them embarrassing. Some of them cost me all my money. But no, I never had a failure. But those things that would be considered failures are the things that give you the most experience and wisdom. Now, let me tell you, the worst thing that a businessman has is the thought he's ever going to go bankrupt. When I was building my car in Canada, I signed on loans. I put up millions of dollars. And when the premier, which is another story, just decided arbitrarily to cancel everything, and it was all a political decision, I'll give you that story, I went bankrupt in front of the whole world. And you know what that got me? Freedom. Because I got no fear of anything anymore. I remember one day meeting somebody pretty soon after the bankruptcy, and after our meeting, he said, I don't understand. You don't act like you're bankrupt. I said, what would you like me to do? I was bankrupt I'm not bankrupt today.
Wow.
So there is no such thing as failure. You can't ever think there is, because if you do, you're going to be scared to do shit.
Also, there can't be any fear of embarrassment.
It gave me freedom. I'm free of everything now. I got no worries. I don't give a damn. There's nothing that you can do that's going to bother me because it's already been done, and it didn't bother me. I didn't die.
Yep, that's exactly what happens. It's almost in a funny way. It's almost good to feel what it feels like to have your worst nightmares come true early, because then you become fearless for the rest of the way. So, like, I was always scared to lose my mother when I was young.
That's well said. Yeah, that's really well said.
Yeah, I was scared to lose my mom when I was younger. When I lost her, it made me, I just was scared of nothing, and nothing could hurt me, nothing. And that's what made me a tougher...
You got it.
Yeah, sometimes it's better that way.
You got it right on. You said it right on.
All right. So, another question.
Hi, Malcolm. I'm Pastor Patricia, Bishop's first, second, third, fourth, and last wife. I had a question. And by the way, he's like a kid in a candy store because he loves cars so much that he made me love cars. And so,
that's great.
My question to you would be, as a visionary, someone who's seeing things all the time to create, what inspires you most?
Talking on this telephone right now with you.
Wow.
What inspires me most is whatever I'm doing.
Wow. Wow.
That's
you know how much fun it was looking forward to it, trying to figure out how to get on Zoom. Oh my God. You know how petrified I was trying to do Zoom instead of giving it to my IT guy and say, do it for me.
Awesome.
I thought I would never get to this place, but I got there.
And you just have fun experimenting. That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
You gotta love every second of life. There's no reason not to. And you gotta surround yourself.
Purpose of living.
that's why I like Malcolm, because he was younger than me when I met him. You know what I mean? He was moving around more than me.
All right, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about age. About 2 years ago, maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago, I woke up. You know when you have a dream that seems so real you're not sure whether it was a dream or not? I had one of those. I woke up, and in the dream, I was going to live to 150 years old. Now, a little background. My mother named my middle name. I have no middle name. I have initial, N. Over some person, some relative that died. It's a custom in the Jewish religion to give a kid a name of somebody you love that died. Well, she liked this guy a lot, loved this guy a lot, but she didn't like his name. But so she gave me an initial. So I have Malcolm N. Brooklyn. So my middle name is only N. And she told me I was going to live to 93 because he lived to 93. And my birthday is 3939. 93 backwards twice. Got it? So I said, good enough for me. 93 is fine. That was the end of the story. Never thought anything more. But if anybody asked me, I would tell them I'm living to 93. Now this dream said I'm living to 150. And it was really a real dream. And I'm saying to myself, 150, I'm not going to walk around like a vegetable. That's not okay with me. It's got to be I'm in better shape than I am now. Okay, I let it be. That was on a Sunday morning. About 15 minutes later, I get a call from a guy by the name of Frank. I can't think of his name. Anyhow, he owns Grimaldi's Pizza. Grimaldi's Pizza is a very famous pizza place, named like one of the best pizza places in the world in Brooklyn. He has 40 places around the world, but he had one in Brooklyn. And he and I would have, pizza together. He called me up and said, I haven't been here in a couple of weeks since Sunday. He said, come on over, have pizza with me. I said, great. I had nothing else I was doing Sunday morning. Great. So I get in a train, and I don't go into subways on the weekends because I just don't happen to. But I didn't realize the subways and the same trains go different paths on the weekends. So now I'm on this very crowded train on a Sunday, and it's going sort of not exactly where I think I want to go. And I'm standing up, and my eyes connect with an old man sitting in a seat. Now, an old man means somebody that I think is older than me. So I look at him, and our eyes connect, and that's it. And then we come to a stop, and he gets up, and he goes out, and I sit in his seat. And I look up, and there he is, standing in front of me. So I say to him, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you left. Would you like your seat back? And he said, young man, that is so nice of you. I'm going to give you a Jewish proverb. You should live to 150 years old. 2 hours after I have this dream, this guy tells me that, and I said, well, I don't want to live to 150, but I'm going to cancel it at 125. So now it's no longer 93. I'm now going to 125. Now, let me go show you how nuts I really am. So I read an article, which I can't find, by the way, about a guy in Hong Kong, a billionaire, a guy in Hong Kong, and he was spending his money trying to figure a way to put his brain in a robot. Now, you can laugh all you want, but I got to tell you, that turns me on. If that man does it, I'm second in line. I want to be a robot.
I've heard of that, though. They're doing that.
They made a movie out of that. I can't remember.
I've definitely heard of that.
Yeah, it was Schwarzenegger. I saw it the other day again.
Definitely heard of that.
They built another body. No, there was a couple of them.
So where's that guy at with that experiment?
I want to look because I'm convinced that's where I'm doing next.
Where's that guy at with that experiment?
Huh?
Where's that guy at?
That guy's in Hong Kong. I have not been able to. I'll find him when it's ready.
Cool.
When I'm ready.
Cool.
After this car is up, after I make a couple $1 billion, and after I build Utopia in South Carolina, I'm ready to go on a robot.
See, he already has his next, he always, after he does $1 billion thing, he probably spend the whole $1 billion trying to build a robot and be.
I'd be happy to.
That's what he does. That's what we do. So, again. Oh, you had another question? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What's going? Hey, how you doing, Malcolm? This Minister Ron, right?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually driving. I love driving. I'm actually driving while I'm speaking to you, right? And then I actually had to pull the car over to actually speak to you because I didn't want to be driving and speaking at the same time. But my question to you, yeah, right. So my question to you is, how do you think self-driven cars is gonna
absolutely. Oh my God, they're coming, baby.
Next thing.
It's gonna change the world.
Yeah, because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what about if I could just lay back, watch you on the Zoom while the car drive for me, and be entertained by the conversation? Because the conversation that we're having is just like brilliant. Now.
Let me tell you, you're 100% right. Autonomous cars, absolutely, positively, are going to rule. And trucks are going to rule the world. Going to f up the world like you can't believe. Truck drivers are going to be out of business. I mean, it's a shame. These guys are good guys and they're making good money. They ain't going to be around anymore. Taxis, nobody's going to be in taxis. You're going to buy a car, you're going to tell it what to do. It's just going to change the world. But car companies aren't going to like it, even though they're spending billions to get there, because when you buy an autonomous car, you don't have to buy another car for a long time. You got yourself a living room, a moving living room that will do anything you tell it. And by the way, I believe the technology is available for me, so I can put in my car as an extra, where you can go to a restaurant, for that sake, get out of the car and tell the car to go park itself. And when you're finished with the restaurant, call it and tell them to get your ass over here, and it's over there. Well, the world is going to be really different. Look at all the things you can now do in a car. You couldn't do when it was moving before. I mean, you can have yourself a date in the back seat.
I'm getting in on that. And also, Malcolm, what you didn't tell him is also within your car plan is you also have SUVs and other variations of the car coming as well.
Well, no, what I was planning on doing, I'm not sure anymore. After what happened here with China, and after they fucked me pretty good, I sued them, by the way, all over the world in 10 years and won every single case. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it all went for the attorneys and expenses.
So you're not going to do the trucks, the SUVs?
Here's what the plan was. And I'm now rethinking that plan. I have people talking to them now. We're going to pick a car company in China that's building an SUV, pickup truck, and sedan that I like. And if they listen to what I want, and based on what just happened to them, they'll listen to anything I tell them, because people are going to be pulling their factories out. China's going to really pay big for what they did in this nonsense. But anyhow, I'm planning on bringing those 3 vehicles in to sell through my distributors and dealers along with our car. Because my car is a 2-seater, period. You're going to buy it because you want it. You're not going to buy it because it's electric. You're going to buy it because it's food, and it's inexpensive. That's why you're going to buy it. And you're also getting something with this car that you don't get except with high-priced cars. Everywhere you drive the car, people are going to come up and talk to you. Now, most people never talk to strangers ever. Now, their life, every single day that they're in that car, people will come to them and talk to them admiringly. Oh, I love your car. Oh, I read about it. Or what is it? Or what? And you're going to brag about, I only paid $25,000. Where normally you'd be embarrassed you only paid $25,000 because you get a vanilla car for $25,000. It looks so great, makes you feel smart, not cheap and not poor. You're talking to people and the good. And then what will happen is one day they will either sell the car or they won't drive stops. And they will miss it. So they won't want to sell their car. Sell the car, that means the used car price is going to stay high. And that's the perfect circle. You buy a car for $25,980, and if you want to buy it used, you pay $35,000.
I like that model. I'm in.
All right, guys, listen. It was great talking to you. And anytime you want, pick up the phone or now Zoom, and I'll be very happy to Zoom with you guys.
And Bishop, I appreciate the Yacht Squad. The questions were great, and all of y'all were prepared, and always make me proud. And that's the reason why I want to connect you with my family, because I think if you guys can just visualize these things that no one's ever stimulated before, you're gonna start thinking about new thoughts and new ways to do things, and that's the reason you guys are the type of people I think with this certain kind of stimulation can take over the whole world. You know,
Damon, while you're talking, I'm thinking maybe you and your team ought to be the people to inspire these people to do it and help them with all the things they need to do.
Well, this is an army you got right here, bro, and they fight for love. Yes. So if it's good, they will definitely make sure people know what it is. You know, for sure.
Guys, you all have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mo.
Very nice to meet you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Damon, as always.
Take care.
Appreciate you, bro.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Dad.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. I love all of y'all. I love the y'all squad. Gotta love the y'all squad. Gotta love the y'all squad. Gotta love the y'all squad. So boom, you know, real conversation. Hopefully everyone can learn from that. No bubblegum shit. I don't hide the plug. As I learn, I be wanting y'all to learn. I be wanting y'all stimulated to think bigger. And that's what I do. I was talking to him like this in 2007, 2010. And those are the type of people that I always want to talk to that push me not to want to do things the way everyone's doing it. You know, there are people that think like that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, a crew like the Yacht Squad, they want to hear things and they want to apply things. And those are the only kind of people I want around me. When you see people that have potential, you feed them knowledge so they can get better and stronger and they become partners. You know, they become assets to you. And I want everybody that is on my live to become an asset. All of us should become assets to each other. We're supposed to be a team, like-minded. You know what I mean? A positive team. So everyone's sitting around, we're building our brains. You know, I'm sharing this information. Y'all want to know what I do? This is what I do. I talk to people like that. And yesterday I had it on the phone with a rock star, or a bishop, or a congressman, or a senator, or somebody that's going to teach us how to be better. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be stingy with the plug. And I want y'all to know who these people are. Because y'all don't even be knowing who these people are. Because they hide the real geniuses, the founders, the people that like to take credit for the real brains. You know, all that is bullshit. So I try to get y'all directly to the plug, just like I've looked for the plug. I like cars, so I want to know how to make one. Period. I want to make my own. I like television, so I want my own television. Like I like fashion, so I want my own fashion. You know? And there's nothing stopping me from getting it. As long as there's people I could talk to, if they could do it, I could do it. You know? And most like-minded people are generous with information. They like to talk about that. And they like when someone's going to listen. They appreciate it. They appreciate it. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you for kicking it with me. And the next time you see me, I'm going to have some more smart shit. And don't be on this live. Don't be on my IG unless you're about positivity, pushing forward, improving, being a general in the war, not a soldier, and coming out ahead of this thing, not behind it. You know? And I'm going to show you what I'm doing each and every time. I ain't going to hide nothing. You feel me? Peace.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.